I remember the message my sister sent, "Come early. I want you to see something first." Her words felt strangely weightless, like a balloon slipping from someone's hand. Gender reveals in my family had always been loud, bright, and busy, but this time the house looked unusually calm, almost hushed. The decorated backdrop stood ready, but the chairs were still empty, lined in neat rows as if waiting for a ceremony no one had rehearsed. As I walked in, I felt a small tug in my chest. My sister's smile was soft, stretched a little too thin. Her hands trembled around a white envelope. She didn't hug me like she usually did. Instead, she pressed the envelope into my hands, whispering, "Before everyone comes, I want you to see." In that quiet, in that near-empty room, something already felt shifted, like a truth hiding between the pastel colors. When I opened the envelope, my fingers brushed against the glossy ultrasound print. My sister's breath hovered beside me, shaky and hopeful. "Isn't she beautiful?" she asked, but the image, frozen in shades of gray, looked wrong. Not the baby. The baby was perfect, curled like a tiny comma. It was the timestamp. The clinic name. The faint marker I recognized from somewhere else. A place she had never mentioned. A date that didn't match what she'd told the family. For a moment, my throat tightened. The room felt too still, the balloons too bright. And behind her smile, I sensed a quiet plea, or a warning. I slipped into a flashback, years ago, when she first learned to hide things behind soft smiles. I remembered her whispering to me, "Don't tell Mom I dropped the vase," even when it wasn't her fault. I remembered her taking responsibility for arguments she didn't start. I remembered her wedding, how she walked down the aisle with shoulders already slightly bowed. There had always been signs, small cracks in her laughter, pauses before answering simple questions, bruises explained with stories that evaporated on touch. I had chosen not to press. Maybe because I wasn't ready to see what she had been carrying. Maybe because her silence mirrored my OWN.AS. The ultrasound photo hovered in my hands. Those old memories pressed against me like ghosts waiting to be acknowledged. She sank into one of the empty chairs. The room swallowed the sound. "It's not a celebration," she finally murmured. "Not the kind they think it is." Her voice quivered around the truth. "He didn't want the baby. Not at first. He said I should fix it. I didn't. And when I told him, he grabbed my arm so hard it left a mark. This ultrasound, it's from the free clinic. I went alone." My breath caught. She wasn't crying. She wasn't even angry. She looked tired. As if she had been walking through a long hallway of closed doors and had only now found one that opened. When she looked at me, it wasn't for pity. It was for something else, witnessing, maybe. The house began to fill with distant laughter from the backyard, relatives arriving, unaware. I sat beside her, the ultrasound still in my hand, feeling its weight differently now. "I can't keep pretending," she said. "But I don't know how to stop." A strange calm settled over me. Maybe because the empty chairs didn't look empty anymore, they looked like possibilities. Spaces waiting to be filled with truth instead of performance. "You don't have to make a big announcement today," I whispered. "Just one honest decision. One small step that's yours, not his." She looked at me like she was hearing her own name after a long time. When the reveal began, she didn't rush to the center like everyone expected. She walked slowly, almost thoughtfully. Her husband stood beside her, smiling wide for the cameras, unaware of the quiet storm building in her heartbeat. She leaned close to me. Just before the confetti was supposed to burst. "I'm leaving tonight," she whispered. I already packed a few things. Something in her voice was steadier now. More grounded. A small breath of freedom. The countdown began. 5. 4. 3. I watched her, not the balloons, because she was reclaiming something no one else could see happening. The confetti exploded, pink clouding the air, cheers rising around us, but she didn't look at the crowd. She looked at her own hands. Steady. Open. Free. Later, away from the noise, she gave me the ultrasound again and said, "This is the only truth I'm taking with me." We sat on the back steps, where no one could hear us. She finally allowed herself to breathe, long and unbroken. "I thought motherhood would trap me," she admitted softly. "But it's the thing that reminded me I deserve better." I realized then that the real reveal wasn't the gender. It was her awakening. That night, I drove behind her car as she left. No drama, no confrontation, no raised voices. Just a woman choosing herself in the quietest, bravest way. At a stoplight, I saw her adjust the rearview mirror, looking at her own reflection. Not checking for him. Not checking for anyone. Just seeing herself. And I realized something too. Sometimes the loudest celebrations are the ones no one else hears. The ones happening inside a heart finally reclaiming its shape. The empty chairs, the hidden scans, the years of silence, they all led to this small, powerful moment of independence. And as she turned onto a new road, I whispered to myself, this is the kind of beginning that doesn't need applause, just breath. The story doesn't end with revenge. It ends with something much quieter, freedom.